Today, my talk is about the intelligence that can discover. You know, after Homo sapiens, our body actually have barely evolved. There is even some research shows that, our brain volume shrunk millions of years ago. But this doesn't mean human evolution has stopped. We use our intelligence to make scientific discovery and technical invention of our new external evolutionary organs. We invented weapons to grow claws and fangs, and we invented clothing to grow new skin, and we invented cars to outrun cheetahs, and invented airplanes to surpass the birds. Our average lifespan has extended from our 20s to now nearly 80 years, a gap that biologically exists only between different species. It can be said that humanity has not stopped evolving. Rather, by continuously discovering the unknown, we have externalized our own function, expanding our scope in time and space. It can be said that scientific discovery and technological invention has become our humans' main engine of evolution. Therefore, AI accelerated science should not be just one direction for AI applications. It defines the relationship between AI and humanity. The value of AI is not the replacement of existing human work. From the perspective of our species, AI accelerates science is AI for human evolution, helping humanity discover the unknown is the ultimate value of AI to humankind. Of course, many models today have discovered, quote, quote, discovered some structures, new moleculars, or even new theories. But this discovery still largely remains on the level of results. They have found new sample with a known energy function, statistical patterns, or corpse distributions. It is extrapolation within a search space. True discovery is ability to pose problems, not just answer them, to understand principle, not just predict the results. This form of intelligence, which we can actively construct a testable theoretical model about the world, and can propose a falsifiable hypothesis, and continuously correct its understanding framework through interaction with the world and self-reflection. I think this is the only true AGI. I call this a discoverative intelligence vs. generative intelligence. It differs from other definition of intelligence. It transcends imitation because creation and discovery is the essence of so-called wisdom. And it is also falsifiable because discovery is an observable event, not a very vague philosophical definition like consciousness. It reframes the meaning of AGI, not to replace humanity, but to evolve the humanity. So, with the discoverative intelligence as our standard, then let's re-examine the two schools of thoughts for developing AI today. One is a scaling path. The path believes that intelligence is an emergent property of scale, that parameters are knowledge. It has already brought astonishing results, but we are beginning to see its ceiling, a barrier to true understanding that more GPUs cannot break. And the structure path is the second path I propose. Another path I call the structure path is quietly forming. The structure path, structure here does not refer to a model architecture, but to a cognitive anatomy. Our human brain is a system that, through neural dynamic and based on memory, causality, and motivation, forms a knowledge system that continuously evolves over time. So these mechanisms endow intelligence with continuity, interpretability, and a sense of direction. Because the essence of scientific discovery is to deduce the future, the view holds that only an intelligence with temporal structure can remain valid out of the distribution. Today, breakthroughs in neuroscience and the engineering power of AI have brought us to the historic intersection. For the first time, we can truly combine the temporal structure of the brain with the computational scale of the AI. Okay, actually, my team have created a stunning, very beautiful AGI, AI-generated video for me. But because it's too beautiful, it's too distracting, last minute I cancel it. Sorry for that. So now, let's just focus on what is the temporal structure. The temporal structure, it must possess a complete loop of self-sustaining intelligence composed of 5 core capabilities. One is neural dynamic, to exist in time rather than an instantaneous computation. It must have a continuous energy foundations. Just as when the human brain is idle, internal thoughts are still flowing, colliding, and generating new inspiration. The transformer, however, is a discrete, static, computational graph. It has no temporal continuity. Wisdom must be alive because the world is always in flux. 2 is long-term memory system. To accumulate experience from the past, it must have a plastic storage mechanism. Without long-term memory, there is no true learning. More important, it allows to forget selectively, enabling effective learning within limited parameters. And 3, causal reasoning mechanism. To understand the order of the events in time, i.e., what causes what, it must be able to deduce the principle. Existing large language model is still limited to linguistic statistics within a known range. The significance of causal reasoning in scientific discovery is precisely to re-establish an understanding of the world under unknown conditions. It is the first step toward going out of distribution and the starting point for a world model. And now, let's turn to the fourth, the world model. Just now we have a discussion about the world model, right? And to predict the trajectory of the future, it must be able to internally simulate a world. The human brain possesses a unified system for world representation, integrating the perception, memory, prediction, and self-reflection. It allows us to internally simulate the world and preview the future. This is the essence of scientific thought, running an experiment about the future inside the brain. So it is not what Professor Feifei's world model, that is visible world model. But what I think it should be, the world model should be a lab in your brain. Then last is the metacognition system. To maintain all the complex cross-temporal processes, the human brain possesses metacognition. The thinking about thinking is a starting point of science and creativity. Yet, AI today still relying mainly on external instruction, lacking self-drive, self-correction, self-reflection, which is the hallmark of living intelligence and a critical step from being a passive executor to an active explorer. Among these 5 pillars, metacognition, the ability to reflect on one's own reasoning, remains the last great challenge. Reinforcement learning, an agent learns from external rewards, but true intelligence must also learn from within, from the signal that something in its own reasoning no longer makes sense. In our recent work, discoveраtive metacognition, we think that reflection can be reduced to a minimal executable loop. We call it SVR cycle: specification, verification, and revision, driven not by external supervision, but by internal signal of inconsistency. The signal of inconsistency we call DCV, drift, causality, and variance. Whenever the system senses that something is off, its memory drifts, its causal expectation fails, or its uncertainty spikes. Its trigger self-verification, revise its internal specification, and continue until the coherence is restored. As we see, the reinforcement learning is always based on the different tasks, external setting reward system. But we human, no matter what task we have, we always check and we always reflect, always thinking based on the so-called uncertainty of my inner side. So how can we quantify the inner side signal, then turn it to be an action? I think this SVR is the most important thing. This makes the transformation of metacognition from an abstract, philosophy into an engineering principle. So the neurodynamics, the long-term memory, the causal reasoning mechanism, the word model, and metacognition, these 5 components together form a living circuit of temporal structure. And the temporal structure, I think, is the right way to the discoverative intelligence. Here, we must emphasize that scale and structure are not in opposition. Structure is the steering wheel. Scale is the energy. Only together can they move civilization forward. Now, the scaling path has shown its ceiling. This is a moment for return of structural thinking. What we need now are not just more GPUs, but new theory, new algorithm, and new imagination. And that requires interdisciplinary collaboration, the very strength of the next generation. We have prepared a path for these young pioneers of this new age. Number 1 is we prepare a new evaluation framework. We are building a discoverability quotient, a benchmark that measures but the capacity or capacity to discover and self-correct. Number 2, we have a dedicated computer infrastructure. We commit to put more than $1 billion of the compute, not for scaling rates, but for structure exploration. C, the third is a mechanism for young talent. Through a PI incubator, we see a lot of startup incubator, and it's very mature. But the startup incubator, they teach you how to make money. But we also need some PI incubator. because we encourage those people, even though they're without compute, they have to resist the temptation of the industry. How can they survive in the academia? So we want to launch a PI incubator. The PhDs and postdocs around the world can establish independent labs before graduation, owning their own research direction, budget, and the name. So no offense, last time I talked to a university president, and he said, oh, actually, many professors, they didn't know as much as students, and they learn from their students. So what should we do, right? I think this is very easy. Just like anybody can be drop off from the school and start a company, why not? PhD, they start up their own lab, and we have a PI incubator to give them, they can bear the name, they can also have independent budgets, and they also can have their headcount. So of course, we also have global research office. Now we have centers in Silicon Valley, Tokyo, Beijing, Shanghai, Hong Kong, and Singapore, and with Toronto and Europe on the way, where the researchers collide ideas across disciplines on the same whiteboard. We want to bring all the young talents in person and meet and brainstorming. We have already recruited or hired more than 200 PhDs from the top-tier university. And as you already know, I forgot to say, TCCI, we decide to choose the structure road, not the scale road. Because, of course, too many brilliant minds already in the, scaling road, and they need some people to work, to find their meaning in a structure which the young scientists can contribute. And the more important is that, even though the structure parts failed, we think it is a necessary cost for us to understanding our brain. And this is exactly what Chen Institute, when we established this fund, this institute, this is exactly our vision. So we hire, more than 200. We will reach 500 people in 8 offices, and we will launch our Silicon Valley office very quickly. And just now we talked to Jennifer about, maybe we can set up office in Berkeley, right? Yes. And, we believe, the scale is a part of giants. We have giants here, right? And temporal structure is the opportunity for the young. Giants use compute to push the boundary. The young can use structure to redefine intelligence. And intelligence that does not repeat existing knowledge, but can instead propose its own hypothesis, validate the word, and correct its understanding. It is the intelligence that can discover. Thank you. Oh. I'm a little bit too excited, and I forgot my main job, right? Chrissy told me, yeah. Finally, I would like to thank Dean Jennifer Chase for her unwavering support and partnership with Berkeley CDSS. Thank you, Jennifer. And my sincere thanks to our incredible speakers for their inspiring talks, and to Underline Science and QE for their excellent technical support. Thank you. Thank you. Special thanks to my wife, Chrissy, and my dedicated team member for their hard work behind the scenes. Thank you, Chrissy. And thank you for inviting me here, right? To have the honor to just at the same stage and with so many brilliant minds. And most importantly, thank you, our audience, and for your participation and thoughtful question that make the conference truly meaningful. Look forward to AIAS 2026. Thank you.